Russia is being driven out of the Caucasus with wet rags, and the already tense relations with Azerbaijan have deteriorated completely and irrevocably. There is a real confrontation between Moscow and Baku. The reason for the start of the diplomatic war was ordinary Russian fascism, seasoned with Nazism and xenophobia. In Yekaterinburg, security forces staged an Azerbaijani pogrom. Putin's police, directed against the Azerbaijani diaspora. More than a dog was detained. 2 of them were brutally killed at the police station. Brutal violence, torture, kidnapping. All this in front of their relatives. The mass detentions of Azerbaijanis in Yekaterinburg are striking in their cruelty. The armed forces broke into houses without any explanation, mercilessly mocked people, violating all rights and moral boundaries. Safe one Gusan Lee, a journalist who lost 2 brothers in this incident, told how they died. My brothers were also subjected to the murder of Ziauddin and Hussein. This is a confirmation of the complete disregard for the law in Russia. The
Russian cops, cynical, even mockingly stated that the deceased simply felt ill and died by accident. The reaction of the official authorities of Azerbaijan was lightning fast. The Russian ambassador was called to the carpet and a strong protest was expressed. In Baku, they emphasized that these were murders and persecutions based on ethnicity, and it was the Azerbaijanis who were persecuted. Well, what happened in Yekaterinburg was not just an episode that caused diplomatic tension between Baku and Moscow, but also provoked a powerful wave of public indignation and growing mistrust of Russia within Azerbaijani society, that such actions are not accidental and reflect deeper problems in the attitude of the Russian authorities to representatives of national minorities. In this regard, Azerbaijani deputies cancelled an official visit to Moscow. The parliamentary delegation of the Mejlis openly accused Russia of systematic demonstrative murders and violence on ethnic grounds. Law enforcement agencies of Moscow have launched real repressions against Azerbaijanis. Previously, Stalin chopped off heads with the hands of the NKVD. Now Putin crushes dissenters with the hands of Amen. As they say, 1937 continues, but more harshly and seriously. But does the Kremlin and Putin himself understand that now is not 1937, but 2025 and the former Soviet republics have been independent for 30 years? We want to disappoint Azerbaijani journalists. Putin does not understand anything. He and his entourage live in a parallel reality and think in the categories of the 30s and 40s of the last century, when the superiority of one nation over another was considered the norm. Russia is the reincarnation of the Third Reich, and this should be perceived as an office. The ideology of racism is no different from German Nazism. Even the set of slogans and symbols is the same: a special path, a 1,000-year empire, and undisguised hatred of other nations.
How long will a 30-year-old independent republic be allowed to attack a 1,000-year-old Rus, even if only diplomatically? Will there not be some kind of tough response? We understand. You are accustomed to dominating the nations that Russia has forcibly annexed. Whether in Tsarist times or in the Soviet period, the Russian people were considered a superior race. Azerbaijanis, Uzbeks, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, Turkmens and other nations have always been considered second-class citizens.
Azerbaijan has begun to act very harshly. In Baku, security forces have detained 2 Russian journalists. Well, as journalists, propagandists, the head of the editorial board of Sputnik Azerbaijan Igor Kartovuk and editor-in-chief Yevgeny Belousov. What exactly they are accused of is still unknown, but given that Sputnik is a rabid garbage dump that exclusively broadcasts the Kremlin's nonsense, we can assume that they are accused of either espionage or dissemination of knowingly false and harmful information directed against the state of Azerbaijan. Sputnik flew to Azerbaijan and made its last flight in a paddy wagon. But they did not stop there in Baku. Azerbaijan cancelled all Russian cultural events. This concerns concerts, festivals, performances, exhibitions and other Russian gatherings. Verum writing Agutin and the silent Basta, who has not noticed Russia's invasion of Ukraine for the 4th year, can put away their microphones and move behind the curb. Basta.
Karapuziki, the dancing is over. The
Russians who have come here too, an unpleasant surprise awaits. Swamp tourists in Azerbaijan have begun to be checked en masse for lice. The lop-legged have flooded their embassy with complaints that law enforcement officers are coming to their place of residence, demanding documents and asking about the purpose of their stay in Azerbaijan. Some particularly greyhounds have even been subjected to forceful methods. Many owners of Russian-speaking jaws are asking themselves, and why us? The Russians stubbornly refuse to bear responsibility for the crimes of the Russian state, but they need to get used to it.
As they say, well, like it or not, be patient, my beauty. It has come to the point that Azerbaijani television has openly accused Russia of unleashing the Karabakh War. It was Moscow that created the conflict and did not allow it to be extinguished for 30 years. For 30 years, it deliberately destabilized the region. Do they understand that history forgets nothing? Neither Stalin's repressions, when Azerbaijani thinkers were beheaded, nor the events of January 20th, nor the Hajjali genocide, nor the occupation of Azerbaijani lands. The people lived under occupation for 30 years, but Armenia is only the tip of the iceberg. Everything was done by the hands of Russia. Yes, precisely by the hands of Russia and with its participation. There
has been no clear reaction from Moscow yet. Traditionally, in any difficult critical situation, the Kremlin plays Gupik, keeps silent and pretends that it does not understand anything. Azerbaijan is on the verge of breaking diplomatic relations. Accuses Russia in Nazism and unleashing war. And what is Putin doing at this moment? He goes on air and tells how to properly pump up the press.
I looked, there are guys training behind your back. Yeah, football players. See, there you see, I see what they are doing. Pumping up the press. It would be better to put your hands behind your head, and not just lift yourself up. Tell them, please.
Schizophrenia to the 10th power, multiplied by canine rabies. And this man has access to the nuclear button. While Putin plays the ostrich, as always, his trained mustache is doing the talking for him. We sincerely regret in connection with such decisions. It is important to continue, probably, the work on explaining the reasons and nature of those events, which, in the opinion of the Azerbaijani country, served as the reason for such démarches. That is, Peskov regrets not because 2 Azerbaijanis were killed, but because the concert bashes were cancelled. Of course, this angered Baku even more. There were even calls to burn down the Russian embassy. The famous Azerbaijani journalist Afgan Mukhtarli wondered why Azerbaijanis are being killed in Russia, but their embassy is still not burning. Good question, Mr. Afgan. Great things are being done under cover of night.
Unlike the Kremlin grandfathers, the swamp imperial and worn-out SHBLA actively began to pour out their chauvinistic soul. The Telegram channel Zhivo called for hitting Azerbaijan with large guns and accused Baku of genocide of Russians in the early 90s. Classic. When the imperialists need a reason to attack a neighbor, they immediately get out the old entresol about the oppression of Russian speakers.
What again?
DSHRG Rusich. Well, this unit of Russian Nazis under the command of the Nazi Melchikov also showed itself in all its glory. I am a Nazi. I am a Nazi, I will not go into detail. A nationalist, there, a patriot, an imperial direction and so on. I say it straight out, I am a Nazi, you can raise your hand.
Rusich called for the liquidation of the Azerbaijani diasporas and the nationalization of their property. This already smells like Kristallnacht. For those who don't know, this was a Jewish pogrom that the Nazis staged in 1938. I'm
a Nazi, I don't think it's a coincidence.
Here it is, a true bestial face. It's not surprising that this face makes everyone sick. Azerbaijan is boldly going against the enraged gas station, because the time of the Russian Empire has passed. Now the region has a new leader, or rather leaders. The Union of Turkic Peoples of Turkey, Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan has begun to mercilessly squeeze the Russian world out of the Caucasus and Central Asia. These are strong, successful countries, close in faith and culture. They are already united in the Turkic Council and are building up economic and military cooperation at an incredibly fast pace. In the future, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan and Turkey can create a Turkic analog of the EU. Azerbaijan constantly supports the territorial integrity of Ukraine in all platforms. And Moscow doesn't really like this either. Azerbaijan is a country that provided Ukraine with more than $50 million in humanitarian aid. And after Azerbaijan signed a comprehensive agreement with the Turkish Republic on military cooperation in storing security, Moscow did not like it either. It is significant that in recent years, relations with Moscow have simultaneously worsened for both Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan. Russia has endless territorial claims to Astana. And a standard set of clichés. Infringement of Russian speakers. Kazakhstan never existed. Lenin invented it. Almaty is the mother of Russian cities. There are many interesting things there. And I am against them forgetting that Almaty is a loyal city. Our Russian Cossack fortress. Well, that's nonsense. Well, nonsense. Moscow has been waging a proxy war with Azerbaijan for 30 years. Tell me, please, why such a crazy neighbor and partner? Especially when there is close and reliable Turkey. Moreover, Ankara is not offering cooperation according to the formula. Big Brother and all the rest, but on equal, respectful and mutually beneficial terms. The
relations between the two states are based on friendly, mutually beneficial partnership and are an example for others. The head of the Foreign Office especially noted the leading role of Kazakhstan in the process of integrating the Turkic world and putting forward initiatives necessary to strengthen the ties of fraternal peoples. The
latest conflict between Baku and Moscow is another 7-league step towards a new strong union of the Turkic peoples. And this alliance will finally free the Caucasus and Asia from racism. Muscovy will be torn apart like a hot water bottle. On one side is Ukraine, on the other is the Great Turan.
I would like to remind you that this video is created for entertainment purposes and contains elements of satire and irony. All facts and events are presented in a hyperbolized or exaggerated form to convey a comedic or dramatic effect. Our goal is not to mislead, but to highlight humor. Please take it with a smile.